Have you ever noticed that Hitler always performed an entirely different Heil Hitler salute, and why he did so? Whereas during the war, if a German didn't do the Hitler hand, or when he did it the wrong way, as you can see here, he would be sent to a re-education center, which they later called a concentration camp. Of course, another euphemistic camouflage to lure the people into the moral acceptance of concentration camps. As the Nazis were, and still are, a terrible bunch of liars. Here their lies collected, or some of their lies, in my older film here. Back then, during the Nazi era in Germany, you would go to prison if you didn't do the Nazi salute. And now, still in Germania, you go to prison if you do the Nazi salute. It seems they just aren't able to decide in Germany to put someone in jail for doing it or for not doing it. Quite mental, really. You just can't wrap your head around that one, eh? I guess it's the intention to lock someone up that counts in Germany, just as it is in Swaziland. Normally in the army there's only one standard salute for all men, officers and presidents, and if you do it slightly wrong, disciplinary measures will be consequently applied. So why does Hitler and some other high-up Nazi officials do the wrong Nazi salute? People automatically assume and assumed that a Führer can do what he wants because he's like God, or the Grofats, as his official accepted nickname was. Grofats, it means größter Feldherr aller Zeiten, meaning the biggest commander of all times. Commandery, Templar's commandery, as in some sort of an occult hidden competition amongst the rest of the pharaonic brotherhood, like Alexander the Great Homo, Caesar, or Napoleon. For a proper analysis, first of all, why does one do a military salute? Answer: to pay respect. So Hitler doing the salute the wrong way, meaning he didn't respect the German people at all, which becomes clear with the deliberate destruction of Germany by this enemy of the German people, the enemy within. So to whom does he pay respect then, with that funny, effeminized salute of his, if not to the Germans? Well, let me tell you, to the Brotherhood, of course, just as this one here. I discovered this image of Adolf once and made a film about it, which got deleted by the tube without you. Fortunately, other people saved the image and also the entire film, as you can see here. I urge you to also watch this video about the Nazi lies to the German people, and dear neo-Nazis and identitarian movements, please wake up to this enemy inside and watch my film, The Swiss Beast, Home of the Devil. So Mr. Hitler boy here in fact salutes his octagon Nazi Templar Freemason pals of the Brotherhood or Fraternity by saluting the square and compass of his real friends in Octagon, Switzerland, who had financed him here in Zurich, Switzerland, 1923 by Swiss General Ulrich Wille. So, with his entirely different salute, he does the concept of 4 by holding his hand at an angle of 90 degrees as a square to the wrist, and by holding the rest of his arm at 60 degrees for the compass, concept of 3. With 3 plus 4 is 7 for the 7th letter, the Freemason G, in between square and compass, as in Grofats, the biggest commander of all times, and with a big G. So here you can see this here is 90 degrees facing upwards, the hand to the wrist. And what is 90 degrees? The square, like in the square and compass is. And this here, the rest of the arm, the upper arm and the underarm, is 60 degrees, as the compass of the square and compass is 60 degrees. And to get the whole story, watch my film The Swiss Beast, Home of the Devil, or my other film to understand the concept of 3 and 4, the 60, 90 degrees, or you can also watch my film Murder Children in Castles. So here you can see that again, 90 degrees, but he's moving all the time, you know. So of course, I mean, he has to bring his arm up from down and bring it back. So that might be the moment, you know, the picture was taken, or a screenshot out of a video that he's moving it, you know. But he's going to when he brings it all the way up, this is gonna be 90 degrees, and the rest is gonna be 60 degrees. It's complete Freemasonry of the Knights Templars. You know, they're all homos in uniforms, you know, rubbing their asses in leather pants and all that, Gestapo leather pants, and don't be afraid of them, you know, because it's a show, you know. It's a show, and there are many. It's the problem. It's all Freemasonry, and it's from Pharaoh, right? With their Swiss base. And here again he's moving, but this should be 60 degrees, and here it's 90. And at the end of the movement he brings it all the way to 60 and 90. So here's the square with his hand, and with his arm is the compass. Yeah. And Fatty here, he knows it. That's why he's smiling. You know, they all know it. They're all lying. Oh, our trick works very well, you know. We get them. We get the German people. They believe us. Oh, fantastic. We don't even have to fight ourselves. You know, we can just fill up our pockets and bring it all to Switzerland. He's already dreaming of mountains of gold, Fatty here. Yeah, look, he's doing it again, giving the Freemason square and compass salute. Of course, he had to do this day. Next to his 33-degree Freemason pal here, Hitler's banker just next to him. You see? Yeah. So together with the fact that Hitler's banker, Hjalmar Schacht, whom you can see here, the first director of the Swiss Nazi Bank of International Settlements, short the BIS, in Basel, Switzerland of course, was a 33-degree Freemason. It should be clear that the Nazis never persecuted the Masons, because they were Freemasons themselves, with a skull and bones Freemason logo, and SS for Isis, the goddess, in Pharaonic Demotic written in consonants only. Then why these liar Nazis pretended to be persecuting the Masons? Well, the answer is very simple. After World War I, the Germans found themselves with famine, in a terrible economical crisis due to the Allied aristocracy imposing financial repairs on the population. And even children were dying of hunger. So the German people said to themselves, Kinder zuerst. We must at least see to it that our children won't die, and we must think national and social amongst each other, and share all we have and help each other. So they founded the NSDAP, the Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, or the National Socialist German Workers' Party, which was, as the name is referring to, a workers' party by the people themselves, who had understood the danger of the elitist Freemasonry parasiting on the people by having all key positions in society under their control. Then, not yet Freemason, Adolf Hitler, spied on the NSDAP, being an army secret agent from 1918 till 1920, still staying in the army, infiltrating the German nationalists, and even taking the lead of it by Lenin's Swiss strategy. The best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. So Hitler, just as Lenin, got invited to Switzerland, where he became a Freemason in 1923 in the Zurich Lodge, where they have a statue of Helvetia, Isis, next to the Alpina, the Alpine Lodge, with a pentagram on it. National Socialism versus International Socialism, if you like. Then, in 1934, during the so-called Night of the Long Knives, Hitler had all the original leaders of the NSDAP, the Workers' Party, and their SA Sturmabteilung, military wing of the brown shirts, murdered, replacing them with the Freemason SS black shirts, a very elitist organization full of engineers, architects, doctors, loads of aristocrats, and no more real German workers anymore at all. So you see, in order to guarantee the ordinary German workers back up the coming war, the enemy within had to keep the show running in order to keep their faith in the party by pretending to execute the people's will to get rid of the Freemasons, who by then, through Hitler and his aristocratic Freemason gang, already had taken full control of the not anymore very Workers' Party, and not very German either, if you'd ask me. So today, we're still in the Third Reich. In fact, the Germans lost the war, but the Nazis and the Swiss had won the war. This is why in April 2014, Switzerland made the Nazi salute legal again, in order to attract neo-Nazis from Germany again, just as they did with Hitler in 1923. Enabling young wannabe neo-Nazis to finally do a good old and legalized stretch of the right arm in Switzerland after having it had curled up for decades. A real castrated sensation for a wannabe neo-Nazi. Similarly, enabling the Swiss to finance them like with Adolf in 1923. Do some gun training, which they actually do, fill their heads with propaganda, and naturally transmitting them how Switzerland is part of the family, so they would never attack the motherland. Oh, where and when did we see this happen before, eh? Very smart setup, just like Swiss banksters throwing those big posh parties for the world's elite in order to attract the world's billionaires into some severe tax evasion deals with the Swiss, literally crippling the economy of entire nations. Oh yes, the Templars and history's first bankers never disappeared. They went to Switzerland 2.5 months after the end of the Crusades with the fall of Acres. So the Jews are not the bankers, but the Swiss Templars are, and have always been the bankers. Neither does the word Nazi comes from National Zionism, as Palestinian liars are falsely teaching us, telling lies in order to mobilize the entire world to solve their own Palestinian problems for them by others. In fact, the word Nazi comes from Mussolini's nazionalismo, written with a Z in Italian, and not with a T as in German or in English. And Mussolini lived for 2 full years in Switzerland, just like Lenin, Hitler, and the rest before he became Il Duce, meaning the Duke in Italian. The Duke of the worldwide aristocracy of Pharaoh, and their Swiss base where they all get taught. I can tell you, Swissy, that your time is over, and there's nowhere anymore where you can hide from me. Listen carefully, listen very carefully, Swissy. Your cover is blown. No place to hide anymore. Oh, by the way, before I forget, did you know that Swissy's sleeper agent, with his square and compass concept of 4 and 3 Nazi Freemason salute of the Nazi Templars, had perfectly blue eyes, hardly ever coming out because of his dilated pupils because of drugs, hatred and demons, which he all picked up in the motherland of the Satanic Templars, explained in video The Swiss Beast, Home of the Devil.